Welcome back into the Sportsmemo podcast. Monday, November 19th. We're doing a little NHL podcast here with our NHL expert, Andrew McGinnis, off to a great start of the season. 56% winning percentage on over 90 plays already this season. So, McGinnis, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Doing great, Drew. Doing great. Just got back from a trip to the nation's capital, Ottawa, Ontario, and Canada here, and I was really happy to see a game and learned a lot, talked to a lot of people involving the sports media world. So it was a great trip, and I'm back here going over tonight's card. And it's a very unusual, massive card here on a Monday night. So it's great. It's great to have this podcast now. I'm looking forward to going over things. How are things on your end?
They're doing good. I'm down here in Florida, so we're kind of on opposite ends of the continent here. But hey, you're the one that knows all about the NHL, so we'll get it out to the listeners. And guys, if you're been following McGinnis in the NHL, you've been doing pretty good year to date. 56%, 52 and 41 on the year. And we do have a special coupon code for 7-day all access. It's something we've been doing here at Sportsmemo for over 10 years. It is the Turkey Day Shootout, and by typing in the coupon code SHOOTOUT at checkout, you can get McGinnis's 7-day all access, or actually any handicapper's 7-day all access on Sportsmemo for half off. So it's less than $50, and you'll get the next 7 days of picks with any handicapper you want. That's any sport, any play designation at sportsmemo.com. The coupon code is SHOOTOUT. You can follow McGinnis on Twitter at McGinnisPicks, but let's get right into the games. McGinnis, we got game number 3-4, which is Buffalo at Pittsburgh. Looks like the total is 6. Heavy favorite here. That's the Pittsburgh Penguins at home, seeing mostly minus 160s, minus 170s. How do you look to bet Buffalo-Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Drew, I'll tell you, they're heavy favorites, but I mean, based off the past couple of performances we've seen from them, I think that we're expecting to see a big one tonight. This is a team that, a couple years ago, winning back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. So this is a team that's never really slumped. Over the past 5, 6, 7 years, they've always been top contenders. They've always been known for their depth, but like I mentioned, over this past weekend, I saw them play against the Ottawa Senators, and it was a 6-4 matchup. And, Ottawa looked great. They looked like they completely dominated Pittsburgh, and that's not the kind of game that this Pittsburgh team wants to play. They're supposed to be a lot better of a defensive team, but most importantly, their goaltending has always been strong, and that's not what we saw right now. They're going through some issues with that, but right now they've made it confirmed. It's going to be Casey DeSmith in nets between the pipes for the Penguins. Matt Murray right now is in a really tough spot, Drew. He seems like he has some issues, some confidence issues, and so they're going to give DeSmith the start. And for me, right now, he's going to be their guy. Now, the biggest problem right now for this Pittsburgh Penguins team is Sidney Crosby is out. He's day-to-day. He's out for a little while with an injury. It's not a concussion, but it's neck-related. So this team's been kind of a little bit worried. But for me, this team still has so much depth, and that's been their biggest problem. The past 2 games is we haven't seen that. But I'm looking at this roster. I'm looking at the interviews that the coaches, the players are saying. Coming into this one, they will be prepared. They're going to fire a lot more shots. They're going to try and create a lot more chances, play a lot more of a fast-styled game. And, that game I was at this weekend with Ottawa, their last game, we didn't really see much out of Phil Kessel. We didn't see much out of Evgeny Malkin. We didn't really see much out of Patrick Hornquist. They were almost invisible. And I can tell you, these are guys that know how to step up, know how to bounce back when the captain, Sidney Crosby, is not in the lineup. So, look, this Buffalo team is good. They've been good defensively. They've looked a lot better than we expect them. But they are no Pittsburgh Penguins. And Pittsburgh, after a small little road trip here in the East Coast of Canada, they come back home. I think they'll take care of things. We're going to look at the regulation line here, minus 105 with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Forget about laying that juice on the full money line. Just go with that regulation line. Pittsburgh minus 105. They'll get the job done tonight.
McGinnis, we got next game up, game number 5, 6, 7 p.m. Eastern, face-off, right? That's the correct term, right, McGinnis?
Puck drop.
Oh, man, I like it. Learning each and every podcast here. But we got Columbus, Toronto. Looks like another 6 is the total. Little juice towards the under. Pretty much minus 130 or minus 135, seeing it Greek. That's Toronto laying it at home.
Yeah, I think for good reason in this moment here that there's a little juice on the under. I think that Toronto is coming back from their huge West Coast road trip, Drew, and it was a very successful one. They were very successful. They took care of things. pretty much 3 straight wins, LA, San Jose, and Anaheim in pretty dominant fashion. And of course, Columbus right now, they're playing some good hockey as well, coming off 3 straight wins against the Stars, the Panthers, and the Hurricanes. And most of those were all high-scoring games as well. But look, when you come down to it, looking at a more larger scale, the total's gone under in 5 of the last 5 games for Columbus, 7 of the last 9 overall games, I think. And their road record, it just really does scream the under. And I think Toronto is a team right now, they're going to come back after that West Coast road trip, and they're going to want to settle things down. They've been playing in a lot of exciting, fast-paced, high-scoring games. But in order for them to be an elite team, in my opinion, they have to really understand that they're going to have to make those key stops and shut down opposing teams' top 2 lines. And that's really been their biggest problem, is that as much as they've played that running gun style and that fast-paced style of hockey, guys like Zach Hyman, John Tavares, Mitch Marner have to learn how to shut down the opposing team's top lines, and that's what will make them really a successful team. And right now, Frederik Andersen is playing some great hockey, so I think that this one should be an under-styled game. I think it'll get off to a really slow start. And you look at these two teams, Drew, and if you opened up this game at any other time in the year, and I didn't have these examples and the scale that I have of these past several games, I would say, look, these are some great talented teams. They have some great players that could go over, but their 2 goaltenders are playing very well right now. And I think in the situational spot for these 2 teams, in the stats that we're getting right now, and like I said, the trends, 5 unders in a row on the road for Columbus, it just seems like a perfect spot here. Toronto back from their West Coast road trip for this one to go under the total of 6.
McGinnis, we got another one starting a half hour later, 7:35 Eastern time. Puck drop with Florida at Ottawa. Looks like the Panthers, the road favorites, minus 140 pretty much across the board, and 6 being the total.
Yeah, this is a big game here at Florida heading to Ottawa. Of course, Florida's looked good as of late as well. They've been a team that's kind of surprised a lot of people in this league so far, Drew, and it's great. It's what you love about the NHL. You love to see kind of some change, some variance from year to year. And of course, you and I talk about this all the time, you being a Florida resident, how Florida does not get talked about as much as Tampa Bay does whatsoever, and I think it's good to see Florida succeeding and at least having some decent success this year, averaging 3.5 goals per game. 3.2 goals per game. Ottawa, 3.5 goals per game. And I've mentioned this every single week with us, and when I speak with you, Drew, is this Ottawa team has been so talked about as a terrible team, a team that will finish at the bottom of the standings. They can't produce. They don't have line depth. Well, what have they really gone ahead and done is just score, outright score, averaging 3.5 goals per game. They've got production throughout their entire lineup, and nobody can say that hasn't impressed them. And on a consistent basis, we're getting production from their top guys. And, they don't have great players. They don't have your all-stars. They don't have your, top 5, top 10 players in the league. But they've got guys like Matt Duchene, Mark Stone, even guys like Colin White right now. And, of course, the rookie, Drake Batherson, who scored his first goal, actually, last Thursday. He's actually from my hometown, Drew. He's off to a great start, and he's scoring at an alarming rate and being involved in the game. I mean, he's just being involved and making an impact. So what I have to say about this Ottawa team is down their depth chart, down their whole entire lines, they've got guys that can score, and I can't really see a game going under involving the Senators in the next couple of weeks, Drew. It's that crazy. So they are coming off a game where they beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-4, and coming into this one, Mike Hoffman is making his return for Florida back to Ottawa. Like I said, Florida's been scoring quite a bit, and they're heading in here, and it's Ottawa's last game at home before they head on the road for a little while. I'm going to go up and over the total of 6.
All right, liking some points in that one. This next one is projected to be kind of more of a defensive matchup, I'm guessing here. We got Washington at Montreal, 5.5 the total. Looks like Montreal minus 120 home favorites.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Drew. I think this is going to be quite a bit of an over-style night in NHL. I've got a team in Washington that didn't really fare too well against Montreal the last time they matched up, and I think that it was a very unpredictably higher scoring game in that one as well, and it was interesting to see Montreal be able to produce and kind of just walk all over this Washington Capitals team. So, I mean, we've got 2 teams that are both scoring. Washington, you expected out of them, but Montreal, a team that was kind of in the bottom half of the rankings last year as far as goal production, and now they're here averaging 3.3 goals per game. And they've been producing. Of course, Montreal coming back from a West Coast road trip as well, and they handle things pretty good on that road trip as well, going 2-3. And this is a team right now, again, like I mentioned with the Ottawa Senators, that doesn't have all these all-stars, Drew, but they've got guys that can produce and that are really just making names for themselves. And you got to really love it. I mean, I've talked about it time and time again, and people are probably getting upset about me saying this so many times, but Max Domi has been an extraordinary pickup for this team. It's unbelievable. He scored 9 goals last year, Drew, and he's almost at 11 goals now in the season. It's just unbelievable to see the production that he's got. And Jonathan Drouin's finally starting to pick things up. Thomas Tatar is a guy that they got in the trade for Max Pacioretty. And, of course, Brendan Gallagher continues to do his thing. So coming into this one, I think Washington Capitals will kind of be seeking some revenge. They've got some stars as well, as we all know, with Ovechkin, with Backstrom, with Kuznetsov, who's listed as day-to-day, but he probably will be back in the lineup tonight. This is a team that can flat-out score. And to be honest, the goaltending is worrying me on both sides. So for me, over 5.5. A little bit of juice here, minus 120, 125, but it's well worth it in this one, Drew.
Guys, we got one more game we're going to break down on the podcast, and we got McGinnis's best bet coming up. It's he's 3-2. We've been doing this since he's been doing the NHL podcast, so hopefully can keep the winning going, and I'll be investing in it too. It's been fun just to check the NHL boards here, so hopefully get a winner there. And guys, remember the coupon code SHOOTOUT for half off the 7-day all access. That's just $49. You can get McGinnis or any handicappers all of their plays for the week. It's part of the Turkey Day Shootout, which we've been doing here at Sportsmemo for many years, and the coupon code is SHOOTOUT at checkout. But we got game number 15-16 here, McGinnis. Vegas at Calgary. Another lower total game at 5.5. There is juice to the over, however. Minus 145. That's Calgary. The Flames laying it at home.
Drew, we're going to go ahead and make this my best bet actually on the podcast, so it's kind of a nice way to tee it up. It's the last game we're talking about, and again, I told you I think it's going to be a higher scoring night in the league, and this one particularly is going to be a massively higher scoring game. I think the fact that we're getting a 5.5 number, it blows my mind here at this one, Drew. This Vegas Golden Knights team, you and I have talked about it, was slumping big time to start the season. Their biggest concern was that their goal production was nowhere to be found. And now we're seeing them score 5 goals against Anaheim, 6 goals against Edmonton yesterday, 5 goals against Ottawa, 4 goals against Montreal. They're actually competing in games right now. They're finally starting to get some production from guys like Max Pacioretty, William Karlsson, Jonathan Marchessault. These guys are finally starting to show up, and it's not too late. We're about a quarter of the way through the season, Drew, but these guys are finally starting to show up, make a difference. But as far as the over goes, we're seeing Malcolm Subban in nets tonight, of course, Vegas on a second half of a back-to-back, and he's not looked good so far whatsoever, Drew. He's 0-3 to start the season. I believe his goals against is closer to 4, and this team has not performed well in front of him either. So I think that continues tonight. I think Subban, as good as a goalie he can be sometimes, I think that he struggles with his rebounds. I think that for right now, he doesn't really have that confidence in the NHL that he should have. He's still young. He's still newer to the league. And right now we're seeing Riddick in nets for Calgary. And, he's at a 4-1 record, but there's also been some goals in play when he's been around as well. So for me, these two teams can flat out score. Calgary should be well rested. They've got some snipers like Gaudreau, like Monahan, like Bennett, and they should be ready to go tonight. So for me, this is a very good situational spot. Vegas on the back-to-back. Malcolm Subban in nets. You're getting a minus 120 price here at 5 dimes with the over 5.5. I love the play. Best bet here on the podcast.
All right, so just to make sure, because you can even get it better at BetOnline. I got my BetOnline account up right now. We got, let's see, it's game number 15, the over 5.5 minus 118. Does that sound correct, McGinnis?
Exactly. Let's do it. 5.5.
Man. I got 50 to win 43. Let's go, baby. So we need some points in this game number 15-16 Vegas Calgary game. So you're betting it, McGinnis?
Absolutely. It's my best bet on the night. Of course I'm betting it. Calgary's going to dominate, I think, and I lean Calgary as well, but this one should be a very high-scoring game. Like I said, I'm surprised we're seeing a 5.5. This one should definitely be a 6 in my eyes for sure.
Damn, I'm locked and loaded too. Hopefully, any NHL bettors out there, the listeners, I guess good luck to you as well if you're following. And McGinnis, what else do you want to throw out there to the listenership?
Yeah, just last thing I wanted to mention here, it's a little bit separate from our NHL discussion, but the CFL, Canadian Football League, it's no NCAA, it's no NFL, but it's still a great league. It's very exciting. And the Grey Cup, the final game of the season, is coming up this Sunday, November 25th. I got a 4% play up on the side, and I'm really looking forward to cashing this one. It's one I studied up on quite a bit, and I cashed a 5% play on the total in the division finals matchup between Ottawa and Hamilton. That one flew over the total, and now I've got a side ready to go, 4% side for the Grey Cup finals, and I can't wait to cash it. You can find that at my page here on Sportsmemo, and of course, it's $9 Mondays, so make sure you get there fast before, of course, it goes back to the regular price.
Oh, yeah, actually, great point. $9 Monday. You can get that play for $9 today. The rest of the week, starting, I guess 12 midnight Pacific time, it will turn to back to regular pricing on that play for McGinnis on the website. So if you want to hurry up, be involved in the CFL action, $9 Monday today. Great time to jump on board. It's Ottawa Red Blacks, Calgary Stampeders, right, for the Grey Cup, McGinnis?
Yes, and it's actually a rematch from 2 years ago, so it should be a great game for sure.
And so is this in Calgary or is it in Edmonton?
It's a neutral field. It's in Edmonton. Yeah.
And it's always in a neutral field, the Grey Cup?
Yeah, it's always how it works. But I will say, just in case anyone doesn't know their Canadian geography, that is in the west coast of Canada where Calgary is. So, if you want to say there's a little bit of an edge there could be. But again, it's always a random neutral field, neutral location. So in my opinion, there's no real... It doesn't really matter. There's no real favorite for each team as far as the location goes.
And what's the weather looking like? Is it going to be snowy or clear?
You know what? We've had some. Sorry, Drew. Yeah, we've had some really snowy Grey Cups in the past couple of years. For me, it's looking like it's going to be just a really cold day, but nothing really too messy so far. So I'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. But from what I've seen so far, it's not going to be too messy, but definitely freezing cold temperatures that you wouldn't even want to imagine up in Florida, Drew.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. What about the quarterback play? Who are the two teams' quarterbacks?
So Bo Levi Mitchell and Trevor Harris. Trevor Harris for Ottawa, Mitchell for Calgary. And it's very notable to mention that for Ottawa, Trevor Harris this is only his second playoff appearance because the last time these two teams met, he was actually the backup and a guy that's now actually a CFL reporter and a CFL analyst, Henry Burris, led the comeback after halftime the last time these two teams faced. And for me, if you want to find out all the information about this game, of course, check out my write-up on the website. But for me, these two teams are very evenly matched. They've got more depth by far than any other team. And, people don't understand that when you play in a league where there's only 3 downs, not 4 downs, only 3 downs, the running game is so important, and to have those guys that can make big plays and average lots of yards per carry, it's really important. So these two teams have lots of depth, and they played several times this year, and it's going to be a very, very close game.
So it's Bo Levi Mitchell versus Trevor Harris, correct?
Yes.
And I don't know the CFL obviously nearly as well as you, but just off the top of my head, these two guys are veteran quarterbacks, right?
Bo Levi Mitchell a lot more than Harris, but yes, Harris is a veteran quarterback as well. And
multi-year.
Multi-year, yes.
And do you notice that's like really a recipe for success in the CFL rather than, say like a Johnny Manziel, maybe talented but doesn't understand the game as much?
It really is. And I find that, you see it in the NFL obviously as well, Drew, but I really think that without the injuries going on and stuff like that, you see guys like Ricky Ray, for example, a guy for the Argos who is, he's midway through, he's 41, 42, 43 years old. This guy, these guys they get up there, and I feel like at the CFL position, there's a lot less, I don't want to say there's a lot less harder sacks and injuries and stuff like that, but you don't really have to be as mobile, I find, and the older you get, the more wise and you understand the game, because it is a complete different game than college football and the NFL. So, wider field, larger end zone, different plays, stuff like that. So I think that the older you get, the better. And the fact is, back-to-back years, Bo Levi Mitchell has choked in the playoffs. And so you have to think that this is a year that he'll want to come out as a veteran and kind of be able to at least lead his team. And, of course, Harris coming off that great performance, putting up 42 points yesterday for his team. They should be looking pretty good as well. And the amount of touchdown passes he threw yesterday, the whole team really looked great as a whole. So I really can't wait. I mean, it's only Monday, Drew, and I'm really pumped up for that game.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I'm seeing 6 p.m. I'm guessing that's Eastern kickoff, Ottawa, Calgary. I noticed that yesterday's game was shown on one of the ESPN networks as I was clicking through, so I'm guessing this will be on American television as well. Are there any other big names you want to throw out there, McGinnis, on either of these two teams that some of the American listenership may know from the NCAA?
Well, the thing is, Drew, I'll be honest with you, I don't know a lot about college football, so I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot about the names of guys that have been on different teams and stuff like that, and guys that I can really throw out. But I mean, if you want me to give you some names, I think as far as CFL goes, as far as the All-Stars that I really love, I'll tell you my guys, because I'm going to give you some guys on Ottawa. Look at a guy like Greg Ellingson. This is a guy that is a huge guy. He's almost like your Gronkowski as for the Patriots. He's a huge guy. He's a wide out, and he's a big target in the end zone. He's pretty much goes for 30, 40, a 50-yard pass almost every single game. He's a guy that makes a difference. And as far as Calgary goes, there's no real main guy on their team. That's why they're so successful, Drew, that they have so many weapons and so many guys that can make a difference. So I apologize. I can't really help you out as far as the NCAA connection, but they definitely have some weapons, and we'll go more into detail, possibly maybe a little bit of a video on either my personal network or some other network with you later on this week. But I really can't wait, and there's a lot of depth on both ends, and this should be a really great game. Yeah,
good stuff, McGinnis, and excited for that. And you can get McGinnis's 4% CFL Grey Cup action at sportsmemo.com today for just $9. Rest of the week, $20 as well. So, best of luck on that, McGinnis. I'll definitely be watching, but more importantly, invested in this Vegas game, so we need some goals in that. Good luck to all that follows. Remember, $9 Monday on sportsmemo.com. Also, the coupon code SHOOTOUT at checkout for half off 7-day all access at sportsmemo.com. Give McGinnis a follow on Twitter at McGinnisPicks. And guys, we'll be back tomorrow with the college football Every Game on the Board podcast. Best of luck with your bets.